Hi, I'm Y, and today we're going to talk about everything I watched in March and April. Hi, hello. How are y'all doing? It's been a minute. Um, Finals. I also got COVID. I'm in isolation right now, so I haven't been having enough time to create what I want to create. That being said, I wanted to go over, what I watched lately. Surprisingly, a lot less than it should be, given that it's been about 2 months since the last one of this. So, first up, I watched The Taking of Deborah Logan. When did this come out? 2014, my senior year of high school. I didn't remember liking this movie very much when I saw it in the theaters, but upon rewatching it, it was pretty good, actually, and kind of scary. I will say, the scene with the jaw and the child, that was a lot. I'm also gonna just scoot over a little bit for editing, Wyatt. Um, what did I give this movie? I gave it 3.5 stars. Yeah, I think it was really good. Um, don't know exactly how I feel about the mystifying of Alzheimer's, but you could say that she didn't really have Alzheimer's, or that had absolutely nothing to do with the possession that was going on. So, it's pretty good. Next up, I watched The Thing, the 1982 remake, also by John Carpenter. It's pretty good. This was a first time watch for me. Yeah. I will say, the scene with the dogs that were trapped with the thing, um, really gross, really sad. But overall, pretty good movie. And God, what is his name? Kurt Russell. Yes, if he shaved his beard in this movie, amazing. I'm gonna try to knock these out pretty fast, y'all. I gave this movie 4 stars. I didn't think I rated it that high, but I guess I really liked it. It's been a minute since I saw this. Okay. Next up, I have The Haunting in Connecticut. This was on my PG-13 movie roundup. This movie scared the fuck out of me. Upon rewatching it, I don't think it scared me as much as it used to. Obviously, I'm older now. But it's still really gross, and it brings me back to a time in my life where I was very in close proximity to paranormal happenings and ookie spookies. So that was really good. I've talked about this movie a lot on this channel so far already. I gave this movie 3.5 stars. Next up, we have The Strangers. Now, obviously, this movie scares the fuck out of me. I gave it 4 stars. Home invasion, horrifying. Currently, I'm in the middle of nowhere. You hear that? Silence. The windows are open. Yes. There's nothing around but cows and dirt for miles. Really creepy. Yeah, I give this movie 4 stars. We all know I love this movie. I've talked about it multiple times as well. Let's see. Next up, we have The Descent. I think it is a great movie. I love that it's an all-woman cast. Yeah, I think it was great. I gave it 4 stars. The... Did I talk about this already? No. I feel like... Maybe it's just because these movies are part of my DVD collection. I'm just like... I talked about this already. I talked about the Sphinx cat, baby Sphinx cats looking like this. I totally talked about this in another video. Wait, what did I give the movie? I gave it 4 stars. The Descent 2, I remember talking about this. The Descent 2, I gave 2.5 stars. Didn't need to happen. Wish it didn't happen. Wasn't good. That's all I'm gonna say about it. The Grudge. First time watch for me. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Absolutely loved it. I gave the movie 2 stars because I didn't think it was scary, nor that good. I loved Sarah Michelle Gellar's performance in the movie. It just didn't scare me, which is fine. It's not for me. Dragon to Hell. I liked this movie. It was pretty good. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I believe. Still won't do Drag Me to Hell Part 2. Don't know why. Should definitely look into that. Um, I like this movie. It was scary. It was simple. I think Roma curses have not been fully explored in the genre of horror, and that would be really interesting. I definitely think it's been explored in fantasy, but I think we can do another one. Plus, we know Jason Long. Beautiful. That's another movie I need to add to this. Taking a break. Okay, and we're back. Next up, I have The Last House on the Left, 1972 by Wes Craven. I will go ahead and say it. I gave it 1 star. I absolutely hated it. It was not good in any sense. Just didn't like it. If you're a diehard Carpenter stan, like I thought I was, sorry. This movie isn't it. Just because I like the director and writer doesn't mean I have to like it. Next up, The Terrifier. I fucking love The Terrifier. I'm working on a script right now that I want done in the style of a Damien Leone film. I want the grittiness that he has to his film. And yeah, I really love this movie. I come back to it time and time again. I gave this movie 4 stars. I think Art is one of the perfect villains, and does silent, but with a lot of character. Not very, Michael or Jason. Still, but very great. Next up, we have Jennifer's Body, 2009. This came out when I was in high school. I loved this movie. I love that we're in a Jennifer Body's renaissance right now, that everyone's coming around to it. I wish that it got that same love when it was out. But, better late than never. And I gave this movie 4 stars. Next up, I watched Triangle. Okay, I am a viewer of Sarah Hawkinson, Possessed by Horror. And she recommended this movie so much that my Instagram and TikTok feeds were flooded with people watching The Triangle. And, it was okay. Oh look, I didn't rate it. Let's, wow. I can't believe I forgot to rate it. I didn't like it that much. I mean, it was definitely interesting. It went a way that I didn't exactly expect it to go. But also at the same time, it was predictable. I think the ending was stupid. And yeah, it wasn't for me. Definitely, it's worth watching. Just not my thing. Okay, next up we have Fresh with Sebastian Stan. I loved this movie. Oh, I gave it 5 stars. It's been a minute since I saw it, but I remember I watched it twice, and after both times, I said that this was the best horror film that I have seen in the past 5 years. So I'm gonna stand by past Wyatt's judgment of that. In fact, I might watch this again later tonight, but this was like a month ago that I saw this. But it was really, really, really good. Obviously, the iconic dancing scene, cute, funny, flirty, fresh. And I'm looking at these reviews here. A lot of other people really liked it as well. And I love that the first 30 minutes of this movie is like a completely different movie than the rest of it. Because I really didn't know what to expect, because everyone I saw recommending it said, do not look into this movie before you watch it. Go in blind. And that's what I did. And I was very pleasantly surprised. Obviously, this cover art, they should have chosen something different, but I love the movie a lot. Next up, Scream 1996, my birth year, with Miss Neve Campbell. Pretty good, iconic. I gave this movie 4 stars. I don't know why it's at 4 and not 5, but we're gonna stick with it. I love Miss Gale Weathers. Randy Dewey, I didn't care for so much in this movie. I, of course, grew to adore him later. In this movie, I really loved Tatum. We all know Scream by now, and we all know that I am a Billy Loomis simp, as my Twitter handle is simp for Billy Loomis. Love them. Next up, we have No Exit. It was a first time watch for me. I know it's a new film, but it did come out a while ago. I give the movie 3.5 stars. There was a couple of twists in here that I did not expect to happen. Um, though I think the description is completely incorrect. So when I read the description and then I watched the movie, it threw me off. Talking about a college student. And I was like, where's the college student in this? Are we like, is this a mislead? Are we following the wrong character at first? But no. Anyway, I gave the movie 3.5 stars. It was pretty good. Definitely worth watching. I like the action. I like the coloring. I like the cinematography. Pretty good film. The Lodge. Gonna say, children aren't shit. Hate kids because of this movie. Um, I thought this movie goes in so many different directions. I remember I started watching it and then I didn't have time to finish watching it, so I picked it up again months later. I actually almost saw this movie 3 times. Once was in the drive-in, got too tired, couldn't finish it, left. Then I rented it on Amazon, tried to watch it, couldn't, left it. Then I finally watched it again last month, and it was good. It's a really good movie, but it does make me hate fucking children. Um, and I think it was really fucked up, and I think that they got what was coming to them. I wish more had happened to them, in fact. Definitely recommend watching this movie. You probably have heard about it by now. It's a few years old. Next up, we have Final Destination 2000 by James Wong. Terrified of planes. Still terrified of planes. Pretty good movie. Love the goth characters. Moving on to Insidious 2010. You know the scene. You know the scene with Patrick Wilson in the face. You know it. You know it. That scene scares the fuck out of me. And everyone. Every single time. I have not rated it. Let's go ahead and give it 3 stars right here, right now. That is my official rating. Next up, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation, or The Return of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Don't know why it has 2 different names. I gave the movie 3 stars. Wow, I'm really surprised because I fucking hated this movie. Matthew McConaughey and a fucking robot leg with a million Universal remotes and a shadow government hiring him, and then Leatherface is just there. It's not a Texas Chainsaw movie. It's just not. It's not. You can't tell me that it is. I hated it. I hate Matthew McConaughey with a passion. He is one of the actors that I cannot stand. And, you know, I'm sorry to him because he's done nothing to me, but I just cannot stand him. And I think the turning point might have been the fucking Lincoln commercials, the car commercials that he was in. Couldn't stand it. Next up, Insidious Chapter 2. Let's see. I give the movie 3 stars, you know, pretty solid, pretty solid. Pretty good movie. Scary, not as scary. I love that we get into a little bit more of the lore of the bride. That was pretty cool. Yeah. That's it for me for this one. When a Stranger Calls. We know it's one of my favorite movies ever. 3.5 stars. We love Jill. Yeah, again, home invasion films. Scare the fuck out of me. Next up, we have Leprechaun Returns. Trash movie. Bad. Yeah, I give it 2 stars. I'm surprised it's not lower. They did Jennifer Aniston dirty. I remember I talked about this in my DVD collection tour. We're not even giving this more time. Moving on. Cabin Fever 2002. I gave the movie 3 stars. 3 stars because it is fucking disgusting. Love it. Love the deputy. I forgot what the fuck his name is, but he's great. Next up, we have The Lost Boys. Love this movie. Queer horror. Talked about it a lot in my queer horror and I believe my DVD tour as well. I gave the movie 4 stars. We love it. We love them. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next movie here. Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. This movie was disgusting. Disgusting. I also love that we had a prom night baby in it. That was cool. I mean, it was covered in gross, flesh-eating bacteria, or a virus. I don't know what it is. Disgusting. And I didn't. Let's rate it. I'll give it 2 stars. Okay. Next up, Cabin Fever Patient Zero. It had potential. It had so much potential. 1 star. Did I give it 1 star? I did. I did give it 1 star. The places that it went. You know, the storyline of the bachelor party fits perfectly into the Cabin Fever franchise. The whole shadow government experiment thing on the islands doesn't. It just doesn't. And like the lab assistants, they're bimbos, and it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, that's a scientist. Yeah, she can be smart. Yeah, she can be hot, right? But she also has to be smart. That girl was dumb as shit. Like, anyway. Next, Killer Weekend. Trash, garbage. If I could give it 0 stars, I would. This is the movie that on my DVD tour I said I had no idea what it was. I never heard of it. It looks like a low budget indie film or whatever. It is horrible. It is horrible garbage. Horrible acting. All of the actresses look the same, by the way, so I couldn't like tell like what really was going on or who was who. And garbage. Don't watch it. Don't waste your money. Don't even bother looking for it. Next up, I watched A Woman Under the Influence. I had to watch this for a class. I gave the movie 3 stars just because it's a classic. Emotionally, I gave the movie 1 star because it hurt me. And I feel horrible and really gross watching it. There is casual sexual assault in it. And you're a weakling, you're weak. No, it was unnecessary. It had nothing to do with the storyline. Again, I'm just gonna say that if it's not necessary, if there's no point to it, don't include it. Next up, we're almost done, guys. All Hallows Eve. I love this movie. I know a lot of people don't love it. I give it 4 stars because it gave birth to my beautiful Art the Clown. I love the anthology style. And again, it includes babysitting, which I think is really cool and kind of gives me home invasion vibes as well. So next up we have the remake of The Last House on the Left, which I liked a lot better. I gave the movie 3 stars. It still included unnecessary sexual assault, but you know, it was a lot less brutal in my opinion, or they used it more in the storyline, I guess. I liked this one a lot more than the original. And next up, I watched this a few days ago. Didn't exactly finish it. I had like 20 minutes left, but it lost my interest. The Cellar. I gave the movie 2 stars. It's pretty good in terms of cinematography. Don't like the storyline. Don't like the main mother character. Don't like her daughter. Don't like her child. The house is beautiful. Hate math also, and it involves a lot of math. That is what I watched in the months of March and April. There's a lot of TV shows in there that I watched that I couldn't necessarily include. Like I've been watching Selling Sunset. I binge watched all of Van Helsing, Ghosts, and Supernatural, Charmed, The Flash, Kung Fu. Like this month has mainly been the month of TV shows for me, just because I didn't have a lot of time. So the time that I did have, I wanted something short form that had, you know, a full story arc in it. And I couldn't do like an hour and a half to 2 hours to 3 hours for these movies. Yeah, so that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to catch up with my main channel, I did post some videos down there. There's a link in the description. I also have a spooky podcast called Some Things in the Closet Podcast. You can find us at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and somethingsinttheclosetpod.com. That's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much.